Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is the Angry Man Podcast where we're always dropping boxing related content. So make sure you smash the subscribe button because you can't find any boxing content better than the boxing content you'll find here. Fight breakdowns, opinions, documentaries. We can do it all here at the Angry Man Podcast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. And for those of you who are regular patrons of the channel, make sure you smash the like button. Now, this is an interesting one because, we've heard over the last several weeks, we've heard from Bomac actually over the last several months. We've heard from Bernie the Boxer over the last several months. We've heard from them over the last several weeks since they've been going on this press tour and promoting the fight with Canelo Alvarez. Now, if you listen to Bomac, you would think that what it is that they are planning to execute on September 13th is top secret. They got a game plan. They've been studying Canelo for a very long time and will be shocked by the results of the fight and how they plan to approach the fight. Well, I'm here to tell you that not only is that a farce, but it's also recognized by Eddy Reynoso and the Canelo Alvarez camp that their game plan isn't top secret. We know exactly what they're going to try to do, and we're going to break it down here. And then we're going to talk about the fact that Eddy Reynoso believes that that particular fight plan could get Terence Crawford knocked out. Now, let's talk about it. Think about what you've heard here over the last several weeks from Bomac. Canelo Alvarez is flat-footed. You've heard him mention that at some point in the fight, probably later in the fight, they're going to press Canelo Alvarez. You've heard Bernie the Boxer mention that they will press Canelo Alvarez. And what we've seen over the last several weeks is a much bigger Terence Crawford. So when you take all of these different components and you add them together, the game plan is clear. What they want to do is have the ability to gain the respect of Canelo Alvarez early through having the size, strength, and power to be able to keep Canelo honest. The game plan will be to move initially, right, with some strategic movement, but then later in the fight, in hopes that Canelo Alvarez is tired and or frustrated because he's unable to land on Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford would then begin to press Canelo Alvarez in hopes that it will create some challenges for Canelo. It's not very hard to understand what their game plan is. It's not a top secret, if you will, in regards to what we believe Terence Crawford is going to do. The big question is, can he actually execute it? That's the game plan. That's the thing. Can he execute it? Right? So we've heard from Joel Diaz, and he actually talked about the fact that he was in the corner of Bivol, and they came up with the strategy because he understands that Mexican style, right? He knows what to do with that Mexican style and really frustrate Canelo and really cause a challenge for Canelo. But Joel Diaz also stated that that's an issue as well, because you actually have to be able to execute the plan. It's not just enough to know what to do. You also have to have the ability to execute the plan. And I'm not knocking Terence Crawford. Hell of a fighter. If anybody can execute a plan, it's Terence Crawford, one of the smartest fighters in the game. However, just because you're smart doesn't mean you're equipped with the physical tools in order to actually execute the game plan. Now, we know what Terence Crawford will attempt to do on September 13th. Here's the problem with actually executing it and the reason why Reynoso said that there's a high likelihood that Terence Crawford could get knocked out. We saw the added weight. We've seen the bulk. We see people talking about, oh, they're like the same size. But go back, I will challenge you, go back and look at the Israel Madrimov fight. Terence Crawford looks nowhere near as stocky as he does today. Now, we heard from Jamal Charlo. We heard from Jamal Charlo. We heard about putting on all that weight and how it can slow you down. We've seen Roy Jones move up several weight classes, and he was slower. We know what this does. So if Terence Crawford's game plan is to implement movement and move significantly in the first half of the fight in hopes that in the back half of the fight, he'll have Canelo Alvarez tired, where there's potential for Terence Crawford to actually be tired. Because I'm sorry, when you add that much weight, and I don't care about walk-around weight. Walk-around weight does not matter, right? There's an optimal weight for you to be at in the ring. We just heard Shane Mosley speak to that. He talked about the fact that him and Canelo sparred, and Canelo said that he was much better at 47 than he was at 54, because there is an optimal weight for any fighter to be at when they are in the ring. I don't believe the optimal weight for Terence Crawford is 168 pounds. I actually believe the optimal weight for Terence Crawford is 147. I think Terence Crawford is capped. So if he goes into the ring and tries to tire and frustrate Canelo with anything other than extremely acute and strategic movement, he will find himself tired in the later parts of the fight, and potentially he could get knocked out. And I tell you, Eddy Reynoso is now on record stating that they are going for the knockout. They believe that they will get a knockout against Terence Crawford because of this very fact. That game plan, in my mind, unless Terence Crawford, it's predicated on a lot of different things, man. I hear people keep saying that the weight won't matter, but, if Terence Crawford can take the punch, that makes absolutely no sense. Those two things are correlated. That's what people mean when they say the weight can be a factor. Can he take the physicality? Can he take the punch? That's why the weight matters. So when you say the weight doesn't matter, but it is predicated on the fact of whether or not Terence Crawford can deal with the power, those two things are correlated. Now, if Crawford can deal with the power of Canelo Alvarez, again, the other caveat is, can he carry the weight for 12 rounds? That will be a challenge. Now, for whatever reason, we know that Victor Conte, they said he's the physical conditioning consultant. That part I don't understand, because that is not who Victor Conte is a chemist. Victor Conte is a chemist. That's what he is. So unless he's doing something other than that, he should have no impact on his fight. I've seen a lot of fighters. I've seen a lot of individuals in sport. When you add incremental weight, you are not the same in terms of your conditioning. Now, sometimes you can be when you're naturally growing into a weight, when you are smaller and you get older and you just naturally grow into a size. You can maintain the speed you can make because that's truly your natural size. But in this particular case, Terence Crawford, 168, not the optimal weight, and Eddy Reynoso and team believe they are going to knock Terence Crawford out. We'll see if they're right. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and I am out.